Hello, hello. Hello, hello. There's quite a long delay on here. Oh, that's all right. We'll make it work. Been a while since I've done a stream like this. I think it's been several months. I want to get into more streaming now as I'm doing more content creation and stuff. We'll see how things go. It's a bit of a struggle to set up with all the accounts and things, but it's going all right. Been a big fan of this Magic format, especially the limited, so gonna be playing some of that today. Take this sweet dragon. And I'm willing to answer any questions about videos or talk about future ideas, perhaps, about content I could make in the future. Still got plenty of ideas for the style of videos I'm making right now, but I do also want to diversify a bit, if it's possible. We'll take a look here. Pick up this Sunset Strike Master, should be good. I'm thinking about doing videos about other card games. If I was gonna do a other card game video, I would want to make it like just about that one card game to kind of establish it. It's harder to do videos on the less popular card games because people from, Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh or whatever aren't gonna understand all the rules or the way the game plays out, which is something that my videos usually rely on to make work. I do want to do videos about other card games, though. There's a lot of space for it. I also kind of want to do a video just about card games in general, because there's so many different ones that come out. It's interesting to me how different creators approach it, and I mean, even Richie Garfield has made several different specific card games, so talking about things like Flesh and Blood or Duel Masters is interesting to me, for sure. Guess I can take this. Could just splash white for this thing, I guess. Go green. Hello, hello, everyone in the chat. A pleasure seeing y'all today. Just another cozy stream here. Just gonna chill, play some Magic, talk a bit. Future ideas coming up. You gotta take this thing. This pack is just really bad. Take the land. Do end up playing a lot of Teamer in this format, I find, but if it's always open, I don't have much of a choice. Take the land, I guess. Maybe just go 5-color soup. This game. Play a whole bunch of stuff. I wonder if there's any way to turn down the chat delay. I was looking at it earlier. It seems like there's a pretty decent amount of delay between me and the chat, so if there's any way to turn that down, that would be nice. Have you played Pokemon TCG Pocket? Yeah, I thought about doing a video about it. It came off as a lot more like mobile gamey than I thought it would be. Like when I initially saw it, I'm like, oh, it's just like another option for people who want to play the TCG but have an easier version or something. And then, I mean, it's obvious that it got a lot of popularity back onto the card game, and then we saw like huge spikes in the market because of people getting that nostalgia of opening packs and stuff. It's I don't know. I don't think it's like a bad thing. It felt very mobile gamey to me with all like the wanting you to spend stuff, but because they give you enough free stuff over time and most people are just playing to collect, I don't think it's that bad. I think if you wanted to play it, you should. I don't think it's a bad thing for sure. I do think from a card game perspective, it's different, but pretty obviously, you know, more simple. Trying to make it easy for new players or people less familiar to come in and play, which is good. I'm always big into just making your game as simple as possible so people will have an easy time playing. Although, especially in Pokemon's case, I feel like more of the time people just are there because they want to collect the cards and look at the nice artworks and all that good jazz, which is fine, but it somewhat takes away from me being able to analyze it in a video or anything, because I think the only thing I could really talk about with a meaningful amount of insight into would be monetization. And even that is just kind of like, you know, it's alright to talk about, but it's not like, not something I'm dying to talk about. Where are you from? I'm having a rough time with your accent. I'm Canadian. Accent is weird. I never heard myself described as having an accent. But depends on where you're from, I suppose. How are you so familiar with all these card games? Have you tried them all, or have you had to ask around? I played them all personally. I played all of these card games for quite a while, some more than others. I think that also kind of comes through in the video sometimes, that I have a lot more to say about some card games than others, and I have more knowledge about them, but I have played all of them, yeah. Felt European to me. Well, I am of European descent, so there may be a little bit of that coming through. But, you know, in terms of how I know so much about all the card games, I've just played them all for a very long time, and that's kind of why I started making the series and the videos in the first place, is that I felt like there was a lot of content on YouTube and Twitch and stuff about people who know a lot about one specific card game, but knowing about all of them, especially seeing, I don't know if you guys have seen Raren's videos where he discusses with others about like how good they think things are from different card games, kind of getting different card games perspective. Me watching that, I thought, well, I know all the answers. I have the whole book. Wouldn't it be cool if there was someone who could compare everything to one another? It's kind of where the idea for my channel came from. think Pokemon TCG Pocket could be way worse, like Pokemon Masters EX or Mario Kart Tour. Oh my god, don't remind me about Mario Kart Tour, bro. Yeah, it could be way worse. That's a great way of putting it. I think it felt like Nintendo tends to like kind of shy away from that overly exploitative monetization model stuff, but in general, like, you see it more and more, especially recently, like how they're more willing to, you know, they want to make money. they want to make money, and the most profitable way to make money is to be less nice to your fans, which is like, you know, it sucks, but it's how the business is sometimes. But it could be way worse. You're definitely right. Is MTG the card game you're most familiar with? Definitely. MTG is the card game I've played the most, I would say. Like, I have the most experience with it, but also it's easier to make videos about Magic because Magic is the game that has the most sort of overlap, I suppose. In Magic, you have Commander, which is basically a part of the game where you can do almost anything. Like, there's no sort of restrictions onto what cards you can play in Commander. So by playing Commander, you just see so much more of the game than in, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon, for example. Especially Pokemon, I feel like. Because I play almost all the games competitively, there will just be cards that you're never going to see because they're just way too weak to ever see play. And because the game isn't as competitive as the other ones, you're just never going to know about. There's so many comments I read of cards that I'm just like, oh, that's cool, I never knew this card existed, kind of thing. Stuff I'll miss in research because it's surprisingly hard to do research on specific things in card games. Where are my deck coming? I have a lot of fucking lands. Grab a Storm Shell. I love your videos. It's fun to share different with you. Yes. Oh, I'm speaking of friends. I definitely want to make a series of videos about talking to other players as a person who isn't from the card game. Like, I think all the time of just running into random people who played Hearthstone at school or whatever, and then it's like, oh, this guy plays Hearthstone, and then you can start like dropping the in jokes. You know what I mean? But if you were like a non-card game player, like if you hadn't played Hearthstone before and you still knew the in-jokes, it would be like so sick. Just be like, surprise, I know all your in-jokes and things. I think that'd be cool. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8. I need 18, so 5 more cards in my deck. Power creep and bloated card design killed my love for MTG. Yeah, that's fair. That's also part of the reason I made the videos. I think it's important to show that there's greener pastures elsewhere. Like, if you fall out of love with your card game, which definitely happens a lot of the time, you can just jump ship, bro. There's plenty of other fun card games that you never tried, or probably have something interesting that you've never looked at, and you can give them a look. Now's the time, right? If you fall out of love with one card game, there's about 1 million other ones who are wanting to, have a try to have you fall in love with them. It probably will never be the same. Like, I know that Magic is certainly different from when I started playing, that's for damn sure, but the thing about Magic is that I think the game is so well built that it's hard for them to break it, even with everything going on. I thought MTG had pretty tame power creep. I'm a Hearthstone player. Yeah, well, I did make that power creep video talking about it. Almost all the card games had a pretty severe amount of power creep in it. It depends on how you're looking at it. Hearthstone power creep came a lot more, like, bluntly, I want to say. Like, the Hearthstone cards that were power creep, there would be, like, one card printed that just broke the game. Magic has had a more steady increase over time, I would say, with the outliers usually end up getting like insta-banned and are pretty obviously like not good for the game. It's an awesome teaming Dragonstorm. Yeah. This deck's really coming together. Yeah. Tag teams. I'm glad they dialed it back from tag teams. Tag teams were ridiculous. Like, just so unbelievably HP bloated. I still think about that Wailord Magikarp card. I remember when I was playing Pokemon and I was young, the Wailord card having 200 XP was like unthinkable to me. I'm like, oh my god, so much health. How will you ever kill him? And then they just print a basic with 300 and I'm like, oh. I would enjoy if you did some videos from the angle of how powerful certain effects are in each game without caring about the specific cards in the game that produce the effect. Interesting thought. How good cards without caring about the effect specifically? I feel like talking about that gets kind of murky, which is okay sometimes depending on the topic, but I like to keep things clear if possible about like what specifically I'm talking about. I don't want people to get confused, but like, well, why didn't you mention this? Because this technically, like, for my recent video, for example, there's plenty of Yu-Gi-Oh players in the comments talking about how like, well, basically the whole game features OTKs. So like, do you count like this combo as a one-hit kill? And I'm like, well, not really. It has to say win the game on it for it to be in the video, because otherwise every card game has many combos that you can pull off where you instantly kill your opponent. Maybe not in the first turn of the game, but like one-hit kills in general, kind of thing. A Yu-Gi-Oh player, I'm always surprised how Yu-Gi-Oh matches face insane power creep. I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh has a specific like built-in sort of, what's it called? Like in Yu-Gi-Oh you have this inherent sort of immunity to power creep and the game breaking, because the game has always been broken. I don't really know how to put it into words, but I've always felt like Yu-Gi-Oh has kind of been okay with the fact that the game is sort of a disaster all the time. I'm really kind of at a loss for what my last cut is here. How many creatures do I have? 12? Pokemon's best deck, ADP, GX. Yeah, it turns out taking an extra prize card for every thing is a little bit of a busted attack. Who would have thought? Hasbro push wants to because they're their only profitable vision to... Yeah, I mean, Hasbro is running a toy company in the year 2025. I don't blame them for not having the ability to make any money. It is annoying for people who are fans of Magic, though, because Magic is getting the short end of the stick as a cause. But it is what it is, as they say. I could have dispelling. I could have... Yeah. It is interesting to think about how more open-ended I could make my videos. It's a tough thing to balance, because if you just kind of open it up to anything, then it's easy to have many different opinions coming from people that are not incorrect, but like just outside of the scope of the video. I try to make them as short as possible because, you know, a lot less people will be willing to tune into a video if it's many hours long. I mean, I try to make my videos below 10 minutes if possible, but almost every time, like, you need more than 2 minutes to talk about each card game, so it's hard to keep it there, and then also make, like, a overarching point at the end, as well as something I try to do. Is that good? Stick's alright. I think we're good. Let's run it. We'll see. Making ownership means nothing to me. Really classic cards. Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of... You can see the power creep with a lot of the classic cards. It doesn't help that, like, Commander became the main focus of Magic, meaning that, like, they could kind of do whatever they want as long as Commander was happy. You could still make it work. Here's the thing. I would also love to make hour-long videos going in-depth about the topics and stuff, but it's just not on the card sometimes, you know what I mean? It's a lot of work to make a hour-long video, too. I would love to do it. There's so many topics I could go so much more in detail for, but it's hard. What do I want to do? Johnny. Let's get that. opinion, which card game has the best online client? I thought about making a video about that. It's tough. I've heard a lot of complaints about the Pokemon client, but I do think it's alright from what I've seen. Like, it doesn't... They say it crashes all the time, but it runs fine for me. I'm thinking about it, and it's like just obviously Hearthstone, right? You have the nerd following. That's true. I do have a large nerd following. That's the plan. Or the idea. But a lot of them are like just trying to, you know, they don't have, you know, all day long. They have jobs or kids or whatever, and they have to spend time to, you know, watch the video. Meaning that if you're spending all your time watching the video and you don't have time to like do other things, it's not the best, right? Maybe not saying it the best way, but it's like making a shorter video. Old Pokemon was nice. I do remember the old Pokemon was. I still have nostalgia for the way the old Pokemon system worked, where you got the packs with the codes in it and you can scan them in. I still wish every card game did that. It's so just free value. Is my opponent just dead? 4 + 3. Oh no, they're not dead. From outside looking in, Yu-Gi-Oh! Seems like a broken game. Oh, it is a broken game. You don't have to be on the outside. You can be on the inside looking in. It's definitely a broken game. 100%. Yeah, I feel like Hearthstone definitely has the best online client. It's just the cleanest. It's the easiest to move around in. They kind of messed everything up with the shop by adding like a bajillion things to the shop. But yeah, it's definitely the best though. Alright, this works. Oh, if he has the counter spell, I punted. Oh wait, I did punt. Whoops. I did not fight. I thought about making a video like that, how good I am at all the card games. Yeah, Hearthstone definitely has the best online client. I don't think it's close. Digital ownership? Digital ownership's definitely weird to me. It's weird to feel like you own the cards, but they could get like deleted at any time. It's not really how things are supposed to feel, but are the Final Fantasy cards coming? I believe yes. The Final Fantasy cards will be on Arena. I don't see why they wouldn't be. The Spider-Man cards are getting removed because like copyright and shit, but pretty sure the other ones are going to be fine. Unless something comes up, obviously. I think I'm just dead. Just punted this game. Yeah. Here's the other thing. Would you guys be interested in videos that are more about me than the card games in specific? Because I feel like I kind of take a backseat as more of like a librarian sort of deal. Like I'm talking about the card games, but I'm not really putting my perspective on it. Or I try not to, at least. I try to be as objective as possible. But would you guys be interested in seeing content about like me playing the games more? Yeah, only Marvel is the one hating on Arena right now. They're not letting it. I've seen speculation about that as like Marvel Snap stuff. So it's like they don't want to kind of mix their games and get them confused, even though that wouldn't really happen. But I don't know. At this point, I don't really care that much about it personally. At least like the cards are still going to be there. I'm still going to play them. But if you're the kind of person who cares about that kind of thing, I can definitely see how this would be like a big turnoff to you. Whoa. Surprised Marvel even allowed their licensed characters to be in it. Yeah. It is definitely surprising that Marvel let them do that. I will agree with that for sure. I think they just, like, you know, Wizards wants money really bad, and it's pretty obvious to me, at least, that, like, they'll do whatever they need to get it, right? Wizards will do whatever they can to get whatever IPs they have, so that way they can make, you know, money. That's all that matters for them at the end of the day, and that Marvel is willing to give them the money for it and basically get the good end of both deals. They don't have to have him be super relevant to the card game, but also... block here. They can do, like, kind of everything. Only do we give them the universe's stuff in real cards. Yeah, they could. I mean, they could do that. I don't know. They said they were going to do that for a while with things like having in-universe versions of cards and stuff. But then they, like, didn't for whatever reason. So, I don't know. For some of them, like, you still can't get that version. It's all weird to me. All that stuff is some sort of strange no man's land kind of thing. Bewildering Blizzard's gonna go pretty good here. Yeah, I could talk personally about, like, what makes card games fun for me, or, like, what's the best part of certain card games and stuff, but why not do that? That'd be a cool thing to do. Maybe I should. Because there's a lot of cool stuff about many card games, but I also kind of feel like in my what are the best card games, I kind of already talked about that, like what parts makes the card game worth playing for me kind of thing. I'm just waiting for the Final Fantasy cards. They do look sick. I'm not a big Final Fantasy guy, but I will say, the Universe of Beyond, they definitely put the work into the cards. That's for damn sure. Do you think they will put Commander in MTG Arena, or you think it's too difficult to implement? There's no way. If they could have done it, they already would have done it by now. Commander is by far the most popular format. And they tried with other ways, but it seems just like way, way, way too hard for them to do ever, realistically. Like, it's so, like, the first thing that they would do if they could, right? Let me do this. Would you say now is a good time to get into Arena? No. I mean, you could get into Arena. It's not like the worst possible time to get into Arena, but it's not... I wouldn't call it optimal to get into Arena right now. It's like... I've been playing Arena for so long that it's hard for me to know, like, when is or isn't a good time. But in terms of, like, if you want to play Magic, Arena is the way you should start. Like, if you don't play any Magic elsewhere, like, you should start on Arena. Awkward. I do this. Do this. wish they would put Commander into Arena. Commander's a blast. I love Commander, but it's they didn't build Arena with multiplayer functionality in mind. I can only imagine how long the games would take. Like, you have to... It's already so much longer on Arena to wait for your opponent to pass priority all the time. Imagine that with 4 people every time anything happens. The game is going to be like 10,000 years long. But it would be fun. It would definitely be fun. Wow, this hand is not it. Alright, that works. I think the best time to get into Arena is always wherever you are if you just want to grind for it. But if you want to, like, have a good time playing Magic, you should play Paper. Yeah. If you can. Obviously, you know, there are things that get in the way sometimes, so it's not always possible to just, like, get into Paper, you know. I really like your parasites. Yeah, differences to the game design. I do want to explore other TCGs more. I think it's pretty obvious as the next step for my kind of content. It's just that it's easiest to do the big ones because that's the most people knowing it. I worry that people won't be really willing to watch if it's about something else. And I also wonder if, like... Oh, he would move 4 lands. I also wonder if I make videos about different topic, like, cards, like, if it'll carry over. I started Standard 4 years ago. One mechanic how I was playing. Yeah, Paper is always the best. Paper is definitely the best. You gotta put Paper. Paper is just the most fun. I don't think it's close. Yeah, I do want to delve into other card games. I want to make, like, a more overarching card game kind of video style things, like talking about, like, card games in general rather than one specific or like 4 specific ones. I worry that it's going to seem too unfocused, though. That's what I'm always thinking about, like, keeping the video as focused as possible. Alright, Feral Death Gorger gotta go crazy here. Effectively blocks, effectively attacks, picks up my thing, gets counter. Playing dragons in this format is so sick. I think it doesn't really matter. We can all appreciate Summoning Salt even if you haven't played the games he's talking about. It's true. It's true. I can see where you're coming from with that. People do like videos from a talky style YouTuber no matter what they're about. And I guess I am kind of a talky style YouTuber. I'll stop here. Blizzard discard? It's Blizzard discard. Good point with the Summoning Salt. Yeah, that's true. Summoning Salt talks about, like, games in general, whereas I talk about card games in general, so it's a little more niche, but there's certainly some overlap, yeah. This. What do you know about Flesh and Blood? I've heard... Yeah, I have a couple friends who play Flesh and Blood. I don't play it that much personally, but I've heard good things. I don't know if mana for that. Yeah, okay. I'll do a more generic one first, because I've gotten also a lot of emails about people talking about their card games and stuff to me, so I think talking about it in a more, like, overarching sense, or overarching rather, first would be a good idea, and then I can go more into thinking about like specific popular card games that have come out in the past couple of years, rather than just talk about ones that are really old. Would love to talk about One Piece, Flesh and Blood. Learn more about Lorcana and what made that fail. Could do a lot more research for this kind of stuff. Well, card game generally, so I personally don't mind hearing about new ones, the ones in your videos. I played them all. Yeah. Yeah. Would be a good idea, I think. It's the biggest Delta blood fight I've ever seen. That makes sense. My Discord here. Show. You want to get into other ones? Don't we all? Uh-oh. Nice. That's good. Have you played Blatro? Yeah, I released a whole Blatro video. Big fan of Blatro. Although when I released that video did not do as well as all the other ones. Uh-oh. Okay, no attack. That's good. Electric Hearthstone is pretty much only doing electric power points now, yeah. Yeah. I think that video didn't do too well, so a lot of people probably didn't see it show up to them. Yeah, Flair only does Blatcher stuff. I'm happy for him. He really, he doubled his sub count afterwards, which I think is really big for him. Talking about something more popular, more relevant, and something that is, he clearly knows a good deal about. I enjoyed watching his videos on the Blatcher stuff. I think I got them locked up now. Talking about Blatcher and Slay the Spire and stuff, other games I'm interested in, is nice, but they don't do as well as the main card game stuff. But I think if I talk about other main card game stuff, people will still be interested. This guy, this guy. Play this thing. Definitely discard that. Here's another thing I'm curious about. I wonder if people will be interested in like crossover style stuff. If I did videos with Flare or something along those lines. I think that'd be cool. One. Scary. Well, I'm pretty sure he's just doomed. Let's do this. That was a massive overkill. For Slay the Spire 2. I'm gonna definitely make a Slay the Spire 2 video when it comes out. I am so excited for Slay the Spire 2. Say it's really awesome. Keep up the good work. I definitely pursue. Yeah, I definitely want to. I definitely feel myself pursuing what I want rather than algorithm. Like making that video about just Magic. Obviously, all the Yu-Gi-Oh players and Hearthstone players are gonna watch it, but I wanted to make a video about it because I'm loving this limited format and loving playing this set, and it gives me more hope for future sets of Magic, not all being just Universes Beyond stuff. So I want to talk about it. You should do a video about pricing different card games. Oh, yes. It's actually really interesting. I don't think a lot of people know about the way Yu-Gi-Oh pricing works. I think it's really interesting to compare it because Yu-Gi-Oh pricing and Pokemon pricing, to my understanding, are relatively similar, where they can't like give you cash or whatever the same way Magic does. Besides that, though, I wonder how it would make it interesting. I don't actually know that much about pricing for Hearthstone tournaments, especially. Like, the digital-only games, I'm pretty sure they just price like normal. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh has horrible pricing, though. Yu-Gi-Oh's pricing is classically like, you want a Switch? Because they don't want it to be like, I think the reason they came up with this is they want it to be like gambling, right? Like, they don't want you to feel like you're gambling, so they don't want you to be putting, like, real money on the line. This guy's name is Boros the Reckoner. So sick. I love when I see these old school style names, like people who have played the game for a long time and have, like, a iconic name from their favorite card or something. That's always awesome to me. I definitely have I have a video on pricing in the works. I have a video on the different style of, like, what's it called? Online client in the works. The reason those videos have been on the shelf, though, is because I'm trying to figure out a way to make them, like, an interesting comparison. I think the one about, like, which ones have better online client will just kind of be interesting for perspective reasons, but in terms of making the one about pricing interesting, it'll be hard not to just, like, complain about Yu-Gi-Oh! Which is what I try to avoid. I try to make my videos not, like, purely negative, purely positive. I want to, like, show both sides, you know what I mean? Or my sig. Yeah, it's a white source. Sure. Actually, the creator doesn't want you to pay for money. Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't want that to be the discourse, like, or that to be, like, it to feel like gambling or whatever. Play for money. But, I don't know. Seeing how they do it and then everyone else does it like normal makes it feel kind of empty to me. Like, sure, you don't want it to be played for money, but, like, all the other games are played for money already, so, like, what's the big deal? Kind of vibe. It just makes less people want to, you know, play in tournaments, if you ask me. Speaking of Master Duel and Duel features 3 years late, I mean, yeah. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has many complications. It is definitely the card game that has the most, like... Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the most interesting to talk about, if you ask me. There's a lot of weird stuff with it. And it also, like, has a pretty huge player base despite all of the issues, which I think is super interesting. How there's, like, a huge amount of problems and everyone, like, agrees the problems are there, but then at the same time people are like, well, you know, what am I gonna do, not play the game? It's Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is just such a sick game that, like, even if they blunder everything horribly, they'll still play. Which I think is cool. Doesn't Pokemon get cash pricing? I think they do nowadays. Back when I played, like, in the younger divisions, they had no cash prizing, I don't think, but nowadays I'm pretty sure they do. I'd be surprised if they didn't. Oh, he wants the bird. It's going for the one. Okay, these discounting excels are going to be useful, but it's a little awkward to not be dying right now. Yeah, they have cash running nowadays. Good on them, they should. I think catch prizing is like, you know, it's not ideal, if you ask me, because obviously, like, just playing for, you should play for the fun of the game and not for the money at the end of the road, but like, if you weren't going to play without the money, having the money there is obviously a good thing, right? But deck full of dragons, we're gonna have a bunch of birds. Yeah, go like this. Mine right here. Kill this. Just dark creature without flying. Take 3 here. Okay, we're just passing. Yeah. Guessing anything. Yeah. I feel like I have a harder strong job than other streamers talking about so many things while streaming at the same time. It feels tough for me. I block. Is he gonna try to exile my guy or? Yu-Gi-Oh's bill for make worse when you consider how expensive the meta decks are. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh is kind of ridiculous. It's like one of the most expensive card games, and then the prizes are just the worst. Most people would just play Yu-Gi-Oh because it's the most awesome of the game, if you ask me. Like, just Yu-Gi-Oh is just sweet. Konami honors Takashi's wish even though he's dead now. Rest in peace. Yeah, I don't know. Yu-Gi-Oh like tries so hard to make money, and then like after all, it's like like you couldn't give a little bit back to the players. You know what I mean? He's casting this guy, right? There's no way you're gonna stand like this. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh pricing makes me sad, but here's the thing, like, Yu-Gi-Oh is such a fun game. Same as Magic, that I don't think there's any way they could ruin it. Even with all the horrible pricing and the unbalanced design and all this stuff. You're still gonna play. At the end of the day. Let's do this first. I honestly feel very when we have the Konami, they turn staples into commons. It's a weird thing. Like, you want your game to be accessible, but at the same time, like, if you fill your deck with a bunch, or your game with a bunch of, like, super expensive cards, nobody will be able to play. It's a balancing issue that every card game deals with, to some extent, but it's a hard beast to tackle for sure. What creature in here? Two. I think I got this guy dead to rights. I feel bad for the top players that spend all their time studying for. Yeah, me too. It's tough. You go through all that work to, you know, get to a high rank position, all this stuff. You like slave away at the system, and then at the end of it all, what you end up with is just, you know, way less pricing than if you just put all that effort into playing Fortnite or whatever. Like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is obviously not like, if you want to make money, you should target something else. You should spend that time like going to work. But if it's something that you love and that you're really good at, I think you should be able to do it as a career, right? Like, that's the dream. That's what I'm hoping to happen here with my channel. Doing something that, you know, you enjoy and helps people at the same time. That's like the goal. But it's not easy. It's not easy to get funding for things. I can understand that, like, it's, you know, capitalism, all that jazz. You can't just do whatever you want, but compared to many, many other esports tournaments or gaming tournaments in general, like that kind of thing, it's sad to watch the people in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community get basically nothing for free. Also, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has so many weird things. There's so many videos you could make about Yu-Gi-Oh! That you couldn't make about other card games like TCG, OCG, and online things. Like in Magic, we're having this huge freak out right now because they've made it so that way the cards on Arena are not going to be the same as the cards in paper. So if you play on an Arena tournament and then you go to play in a paper tournament, you'll see a bunch of Spider-Man stuff and you'll freak out and be like, wait, who is that? What is this? You have to like relearn the whole standard format. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Has had like that forever. Like literally forever, Master Duel has had cards that are missing from online or are only present in like Japanese or whatever. Like all of this stuff makes it so freaking confusing to play Master Duel or any other thing of that genre. Does this guy not have a stone skin guy? He just has the globe. Or not stone skin, Dragon Storm or Boulderborn Dragon. That's the one. Master Dude is weird. Well, yeah, and the ban lists are separate too, which is very weird. It's so weird to come from the card game where like Maxi is banned, and then you just walk into Master Duel and you're like, oh, so we're just allowed to do this, huh? Larger here, just want to say I'm a fan of your content and glad to catch some of your stream. Oh, thanks. Thanks for showing up in the chat. Anything counts. I've been a lurker a long, long time myself, so seeing fellow lurkers just around, popping their heads in is happy to see. Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG, OCG, Master Duel, they're all different formats, and they're all like similar, but not exactly the same. It's like, I don't know, it's kind of a disaster. It's interesting in a way, like, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Doesn't have formats that you get kind of different feeling metagames and stuff, but because of the way ban lists work, usually, like, if you have a preference, you should just only play the one you like, because you don't want to play against Maxi or whatever. Personally, I don't use Master Duel anymore. I play on Dueling Book when I'm not playing in paper, in the Dueling Book is dog water. Yeah, here's the thing, Dueling Book is dog water, but it really reminds me of my like olden times, like back when I was young and you have to basically just use whatever you can scrounge together to play the game online. Like using Dueling Book reminds me, I don't know, the old head I know about this because I was too poor to play on, before Arena, they had Cockatrice, which was like the even worse than Dueling Book. It was so bad. Oh, I remember Dueling Network. Playing that old like crappy version of things like rings to me. I don't know why. It's iconic to me to play because it feels the same way it felt like proxying cards back in the day when you couldn't get a version of it, or like just scrounging whatever you have together. Like it gives that kind of like the vibe of I love the game. I want to play it no matter what. Doesn't matter what I have to go through as long as I can play without getting like scalped. Just thought something about Magic is very much less synergy dependent than it once was. Synergy dependent. Let's think that's true. Yes and no. What do you mean by like synergy dependent? Would be what I wonder. Like, because Magic still has synergies. It's not like they're out the window. Most good cards are entirely self-contained, while all the formats used to be combining effects to do something broken. Ah, yes. I can definitely agree with the self-contained part of that. Like, most of the cards back in the day, like, you only got one effect, or if you wanted two effects, you'd have to pay, like, a massive mana premium to, like, have your card do multiple things. But nowadays, yeah, definitely there's tons of cards that just do everything on the one card, and as if you have, you know, just look at, like, Sipsig here. Like, this card's just obscene. Like, it just gives you a free card, and it's a dude at the same time. Like, it's a spell and a card all in one. Untap land, tap land. I like that one right now. Yeah, I used to play Magic Online too before when it came out, but I didn't like Magic Online that much. Magic Online's like alright, but it still felt clunky to me. Okay, definitely regretting taking the tap line now. Get a bunch of friends together, play some seal formats, cube, progression. Yeah, that stuff is awesome. I love doing that kind of thing. I wish I could do it more. The progression style, like playing older formats and stuff. That stuff is sweet to me. It's not what you like to see, folks. Hopefully he doesn't have trouble with it. Commander. For example. Oh, I don't know. There were cards like that that were just completely ended on their own back in the day. Like, I remember Ristic Study would, you know, just completely fuel itself all the time. Man, I am so dead here. Yeah, things were clunky back in the day. It was definitely, you felt a lot, but I feel like that was kind of part of Commander's identity as well. Like, you were kind of trying to get cards that weren't really made to work and find some way to, like, stitch them together. There was an entire, like, genre of card that was, like, the 7 mana enchantment that doesn't do anything in Limited that I would see print all the time, and then Commander was like, hey, here's this home for this kind of card that you'll never really get any value out of. But a card like the One Ring definitely reeks of that kind of example of, like, this card does everything sort of thing. But at the same time, I feel like there were cards back in the day that did do crazy strong stuff. Ristic Study is one example of, like, an insane card draw outlet, but they had other card draw outlets too. Like, they were just a little bit more expensive. But in Commander, that's much less of a big deal. You have to pay, like, an extra mana or whatever to use your huge broken card draw spell, like, that draws, like Greater Good, for example, or something along those lines. Double black and black already here. And white already here. Yeah, non-threatening card draw, enabler, cheap, etc. Yeah, they definitely have leaned more into that. How one card will just do, like, literally everything you could ever want. It's both good and bad, I think, when I think about cards that just kind of do everything. It's like, I remember playing, like, in my MTG video, I used an example of, like, Dragon Whisperer was a card from original Khan's block, or Dragon's block, where it's like, this card feels bad. Like, it's super slow, like, you have to pay a ton of mana into it. It's like a mythic, like, you went through all the work to get the mythic card, and it's just like, this is all it does. So, it definitely felt worse back in the day, and the cards feel better now, but at the same time, that makes it matter less, like, how you utilize it. So for good players, it's more disappointing. What's this? In Pokemon, the current junior and senior categories, the kids and teenagers can price 75 minimum. Yeah, Pokemon pricing is good nowadays. It's good. I'm happy. I remember being happy with the pricing back when I was playing in those divisions before, even without the more cash pricing and getting regular rewards too. So I'm happy for it. It's good. I think all tournaments should have good pricing. It's something that is really not that hard to do, but they can be sticklers about that kind of thing. Suppose I'm attacking. Then we'll Blizzard and see where we go from there. Is this just raw red white? Oh my god, such a good hit. That is a good draw. Oh, tight game. Tight game. These are the games I play Magic for, though. All these tighter scenarios. It's a lot faster nowadays than it used to be, but this is what I'm here for at the end of the day. I think that's fine, right? Yeah, you can have that guy. That's okay. This. And just counter whatever this thing is. More card games need a Hall of Fame like Magic has. That's true. League does have a Hall of Fame, although it doesn't just have Figure in it. They probably add some more people. I haven't looked at it in a while, but yeah, the Magic Hall of Fame is sweet. It kind of ran into the problem where a lot of the people in the Hall of Fame were cheaters, which is a bit of an issue, but there should be some sort of recognition for people being good, I think. Put it here. Over here. Yeah, it's just Figure right now. Not much of a Hall of Fame. There's one guy in it, but I mean, it's kind of his Hall of Fame, right? I mean, he's the GOAT, so you can understand why he's there. Now we do this. You. Back down, hold up. Spell. Alright, this is worked out well. Yeah. I wonder who would be in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Hall of Fame. There's definitely some names that come to mind. Ah, you idiot. I fell for it. Boy, the boys. Yeah, Brian Kibler didn't cheat. Brian Kibler had a crash out, right? Like he used to love Magic, and then they ruined it for him, so he left. That's my understanding. He's moved on to greener pastures. Jesse Cotton. Yeah, Joshua Schmidt was the first one that came to mind for me. Joshua was a GOAT, definitely. But there's a lot of, definitely a lot of good players in Yu-Gi-Oh! Many people would deserve to be on a Hall of Fame if they had it. I think they should. I don't know, it's hard to get Konami to do anything. Big fan of Brian Kibler. I'm glad. I like his trajectory. Like, he was famous for Magic, and then when he saw things weren't going the way he liked, he moved over to greener pastures, which turns out are not that much green anymore. But this is the way of the. If you're playing a game and you don't like it, you move to a new game. That's how it should be, in my mind. If you play Magic and you don't like it, move on to Hearthstone. If Hearthstone has a bunch of sexual scandals where the offense ends up being horrible and Blizzard is a terrible company, you move on to playing Yu-Gi-Oh! If you don't like Konami because they don't make good decisions, you move on to Pokemon, you know? Just go around and search for greener pastures over and over again, and, you know, there's always indie games or someone who is willing to take you in. I counter this? This guy sucks. I guess so. Which card game is the best in terms of content creation? Surprisingly, Yu-Gi-Oh! I thought it would be Magic, because Magic's the oldest, but I feel like I generally do better with Yu-Gi-Oh! Video. Like, the videos talking... well, at least I get more comments about Yu-Gi-Oh! Stuff, but I think it's just because Yu-Gi-Oh! is like a more interesting game to talk about in general. So it just ends up with more interesting videos or topics about it. I could make a standalone Yu-Gi-Oh! Video, but I feel weird talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! Standalone because Yu-Gi-Oh! So, like, there's so much you could talk about standalone for Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Has the, like, two big problem to me. Also, there's so many videos by Duologs that I think are just, like, better. I think about his channel quite a bit. I wonder what would happen if he morphed them all into one the same way I do. But I guess I don't think it would really belong the same way my videos do. Great videos, though. Now what do I do? Storm Shell time? I think Storm Shell time. I do have ideas for videos I could make for Yu-Gi-Oh! Style stuff. It's just such a big... so many options. Like, ooh, is that a good draw? That's a really good draw. This. And this. And then I can Death Begins Life. This card is awesome. I love this card. I'm so happy I'm going to get to cast it here. Oh, please play the dude. He doesn't seem to get invested. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is interesting. Hold up, I gotta do this. This is too satisfying to not win this. I draw 7 cards. Oh yeah. Now we're gaming. Let me show you what real power looks like. Discard the hand size. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is interesting to talk about concepts and decks when it comes to explaining how it works in details. Yeah, it definitely gets bogged down. That's the other thing I have a hard time talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is because if you don't, I don't want to get into spreadsheet territory. That's definitely what I want to try to avoid if possible. I enjoy Simo's journey of luring Magic players into the game and showing them and vice versa. I think that's really cool. Yeah, I'd love to have videos where people are shown games and stuff like that. That kind of stuff's like what I'm here for. To show people different games and have you be curious and learn. There's a lot of like good resources out there already, so I feel like, you know, if you're gonna learn, you can already do that on your own. So like, go nuts, kind of. I would just rather get you interested in it, get you looking at it, get you thinking about it. Algomancy. I'm not sure what that is. Okay, let's take that. curious what you guys think about doing crossover videos like that, like Simo talking to other content creators and learning and teaching Yu-Gi-Oh! Or like I remember his video where he showed Raren about Edison to try to give him a more idea of what Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like. But it's hard to get perspective from just learning Edison or whatever, right? You kind of ideally would want to learn as much as possible. Is there anything important in here? Smell. I think I just start snouting fatties. I got to imagine due to Raren's collabs with CGB connection. I think he's... Ooh, that is awesome. I do love hearing about people like watching a video and then going like, oh, that sounds neat. I want to try it out. That's like the biggest like achievement. If I inspire someone to try a new game because of my video, that's like, that's the goal, man. That sounds awesome. Yeah. We'll see. I wonder if they're open to collabs. I mean, they're obviously open to collabs with each other, but if I could do something with them, that would be sweet. That was what got me interested in the channel in the first place to some extent, is seeing all of those videos with Raren talking to other people from other card games and learning them and stuff. I think that stuff's awesome. I probably could have just killed him. Yeah, well, whatever. I'll just fuck no more. I'm at 23. I don't gotta worry. Ogomancy is a self-contained draft card game made by an old MTG Cube tuber. Not quite as immersive. Interesting. Interesting. Old MTG Cube tuber. Cool. Maybe I'll give it a look sometime. To be fair, Raren tried modern Yu-Gi-Oh! First and people were asking him to have Simo show him Edison. That's kind of how it started with the collabing. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's definitely hard to jump right into that deep end of Yu-Gi-Oh! Without any context or anything because the game is so different. But like also, every player had to do that when they updated everything and sort of with like links and stuff. That's how I remember. It's like a whole new game, so it being hard for him to learn is definitely... I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is so hard to learn. I don't blame him. People from other card games reacting to Magic and Meta players and other cards from my favorite content on YouTube. Me too. Big fan of that stuff. They made so many of them at this point, I'm getting a little bit tired, but it's cool stuff for sure. Doesn't help that... It doesn't help that Twitch people about Yu-Gi-Oh! Are the average Yu-Gi-Oh! Player. It's the ones... Oh, I do remember getting into Duel Links. Was a big fan of Duel Links when it came out. I had a lot of friends who were playing it. Kind of similar to this Pokemon TCG Pocket thing, actually, now that I think about it. Basically a mobile version of the game that's supposed to be easier. Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links definitely land hard into the like monetization stuff, though, over the grinding stuff. That was much bigger for them. Yeah, having a classic server is something that I'm always hoping for. Like, other ways to play Yu-Gi-Oh! That aren't just like the main... default format. That's something I'm always hoping for. Yeah. We'd love to do some crossover content with other creators talking about card games or explaining things or exploring old formats and stuff that people would be interested in. I wonder what the best format for that kind of thing would be. Like the best... Like if I was to introduce you to Pokemon, what format would I want to start you with? Kind of thing. Terrifying. Yeah, Duel Links is now like modern Yu-Gi-Oh! I mean, I knew they were gonna get there eventually. They had synchros and fusions and all this stuff. Like they're gonna get to modern Yu-Gi-Oh! At some point. But when did Duel Links come out? Like 2016. That's my understanding. Duel Links is pretty old now, so. The fact that I got here isn't a huge shocker. Maybe I should have said fave videos, watching Magic players, read flavor of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I would love to come up with keywords for Yu-Gi-Oh. Not having keywords in Yu-Gi-Oh is a little bit of a crime if you ask me. Ooh. You, I think. Pokemon is a very interesting game. Pokemon, a lot of people never played it. He started. Yeah, the real TCG has a lot more depth than the online one, obviously, or the pocket version, but I don't know, it's kind of hard to get people to play the real one, because you both have to find people to play with, and then most people who play the game aren't, you know, that interested in actually, like, you know, playing the game. Like, discard to warrior to summon Rainbow Dragon, start falling. Don't think it's the full experience. Such a crap. Yeah, but I think a lot of people aren't interested, so they just wanted to basically get you into the door any way possible. Is kind of what they were trying to achieve. Okay, so with 13, we're gonna take 1, 2, 3. These. Yeah, it's interesting keeping that balance between the casual and the competitiveness of the game, especially when you're trying to introduce new people. Like, having an easier version is nice to bring new players into the game, but at the same time, if you have that easier version, you also have to think about, like, okay, well, are these people going to transition, or are they just going to stick with the basic version? Which is fine. I mean, you don't getting anyone in the door is good in my eyes. Yeah, you having no keywords is definitely not ideal, to say the least. I think I'm just dead, right? If you just full swing. I tried playing Pocket. 1v1 Battle 15. Yeah, usually you just kind of do the thing, from my understanding. So back here. Shame. Good aggressive red-white start. A little sharp shooter. Yeah, there would be a lot less text on cards if they had put keywords in from the beginning, for sure. It's definitely a bit of a shame they never decided to put that in, but at the same time, like, it is what it is. That's how I feel about a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh things. Is like, they did it like that for the longest time, so it's hard to kind of convince players that the change is good. Would be a fun thing to theorycraft, though. Piercing, the obvious one. Alright, I'm thinking I might fire one more here. Have some stuff to do at around 6-ish, so have some time for one more, perhaps. Hey Soda, love the channel. For future videos, how... Oh, I did definitely think about making an alternate format kind of video, but it's kind of weird to talk about because having different formats is like a Magic exclusive kind of thing. Like, they have different versions of formats, but the main format is just a Magic thing, where they have like more popular other formats than the standard one. Does Arena have a ranking system for draft? Yes. I'm in Plat right now, I think, because they just had the ranked reset at beginning of the month, and I haven't played since. What was I saying though? Yeah. Do you have a favorite TCG, or do you have a more nuanced take? Favorite TCG, huh? Well, I'm really impartial to Magic, because Magic's the one that really got me into card games. Like, I had played Pokemon as a kid, I played Yu-Gi-Oh as a kid, but when I started playing Magic, that's when I really got like sunk in to playing TCGs, I would say. So Magic's probably my favorite for that reason, but in terms of like objectively which one's the best, it's a constantly changing answer. Like, it's hard to pick one that's the best right now. Can table these guys? Sure, give it a try. Yeah. Picking one that's the best, for me, I think I'd pick Magic pretty easily, but I think you could easily have any of them be your favorite. It really just depends on what you prioritize in your card games. Let's read this. Yu-Gi-Oh does stand out for versatility and creativity in card design. I fear codifying things with keywords might stifle some of that. Then again, I haven't played it for 15 years, so probably. Interesting. Codifying that. I don't know. I feel like keywords allow you to, if anything, expand the amount of stuff you put onto a card, because you can add more space, like, to do more interesting things. So you may, like, they may reuse the same idea. I feel like they reuse the same idea a lot, especially in archetypes. Like, they'll have specific tutor for this kind of monster, etc., etc. Like, you'll be doing the same thing over and over again. So by having a codified keyword for that, you can put more space on the card to put other interesting effects that, like, are unique to the card. Because every Yu-Gi-Oh card has some sort of unique effect that makes it, like, do something specific in an archetype. But by having more room on there, you can make that effect more splashy or bigger or more interactive or whatever, you know? Yu-Gi-Oh was the first game that I learned from playing with a friend. I'm guilty of owning plenty of Pokemon Magic cards without knowing how to play before, and lol. That is almost everyone, bro. I would not worry about owning cards that you do not know what they do or how the game works. That is everyone. When I played Yu-Gi-Oh, that was me at the start. When I played Pokemon, that was me at the start. I just liked looking at the cards, and then as I learned more and more, it became like, oh, the cards have some interesting, like, ideas and overlap, and card games are such a deep well with so much to just drink from. Like, this is why people play card games for their whole life. Like, you can. Have you ever played Lorcana? I've watched a lot of Lorcana. I've never tried Lorcana because I've never had anyone in paper who can, like, play with me, and they don't have an online client. But I have heard people talk about Lorcana and want to play some. I would like to give it a try for sure. It looks interesting. I also want to try One Piece. Same deal with One Piece, though. I don't have anyone who plays One Piece near me, and I don't have any kind of way to get to that, but I do want to. Like, trying the other card games is something that I should definitely at least do, right? It's just hard to get the chance to for the ones that don't have online clients. Online is so much easier to just look and watch and check, but getting a feel for the game is something else entirely. Did you say what your first Magic set was? This is gonna date me. Let's see. The first Magic set I really remember well is Innistrad. I loved the original Innistrad block, but I played a bit before then. I played in Mirrodin, like the second Mirrodin. I think that was my first Magic set I played. I had been playing Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh prior to that, but those were the first ones I played. Yeah, definitely. Most people own cards and don't know how to play the game. I have a very, very old Hearthstone card here from when they had the printed versions of Hearthstone cards and it wasn't called Hearthstone, and I have no idea how to play that game. I really feel like modern Yu-Gi-Oh, as weird as is just waiting room. Yeah, there's a lot of waiting for your opponent to give you the option to counter something in Yu-Gi-Oh, that's for damn sure. Really, this guy's bad. Nobody likes this guy. So glad I hopped into the stream. So many interesting discussions. Yeah, I love talking with people who love card games. That's what I made the whole channel for. I started in M13, so not so long after. M13. Oh my god. I'm trying to remember M13. Did I play M10? I think I played M10. That was my first core set. Core sets are something that I kind of miss, but kind of don't miss. They were boring, but they're also like kind of like a touchstone. Oh man, it's a globe here, but Eshki's way too good. First game I got to and really enjoyed the mechanics of the game. Lorcantio. Ooh, they have like a dueling book version of Lorcana. I might take a look at that. Because playing it online would definitely be easier for me. I wonder if they have a tutorial in there or not, or if I just have to learn like raw. It's just so MTG. Yeah. I was a big fan of core sets back in the day. I can see why they stopped making them. Like, it makes sense that, you know, a lot of people wouldn't buy core sets because they looked pretty basic, but they gave you that MTG flavor that's kind of missing nowadays. Pixelborn got shut down. Oh, is that an online version of it? Have you ever looked at the original WoW TCG? It has a cool resource system that is well integrating the video game stuff into the board. I did mention I had some cards for him, but I never looked into it. Seems interesting though. There's plenty of older card games I would like to look into, but I also want to keep it like relevant today, which is the trick, I suppose, of the balancing act. You want to keep relevant today, but also like have it be constructive. Because I think it'll be hard to convince people to click on a video. Maybe I can make a video about the old WoW game. I think there's a lot of people who don't even know it exists. So if there's interesting stuff about it, I could talk about it for sure. I think about it. Many Hearthstone players probably have no idea it's even around. Or anything about it. I know I certainly don't. I've been playing Hearthstone since it came out, so perhaps. Yeah, it's pretty as Hearthstone. Shares a lot of art, actually. We got a drink real quick here. Ooh, you gotta take another Trani. Trying to go hard. Good boy. Splash line. Wait. Or just take base red serpent. Climb weight's alright. Let's see. Yeah, that's good. Sure, can splash that. Nice. Draft's going faster. Dragon Hunt looks good. It's not relevant to the question. Yeah, me too. I had no idea about the game until Hearthstone came out. Not relevant today, but the old natural TCGs. I could go into older TCGs with interesting mechanics. I'm not sure how I feel about doing autopsies on the channel. About older card games, what made them fail, what made them succeed, what happened. Be an interesting topic to look at. I don't think it'd be boring either. I just worry that I'm going to have to do a lot of explaining. Tried getting into Magic, but it's so large, I was like, nah, I'm too late, lol. Yeah. Oh my god. Doing drafts is like my favorite part of Magic. And the fact that I can't do drafts in any other card games makes me sad. I remember trying to do drafts in like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And it just doesn't work the same. But draft is awesome. I love draft. Play this here. That's why standard and limited exist. Yep. Definitely. Get you into it easy peasy. Get you learning right away. No need for extra stuff. Another exhale. A little risque. I think we can. Oh yeah, that makes it easier. Oh, good pack. Dragon Sniper? Or Sipsig? Sipsig's so good. I think I'll take Dragon Sniper then. Cards from a single card effect. Yeah, I definitely see that sometimes. One card that just leads you all the way down your entire chain of your whole deck is kind of, yeah. The draft doesn't really work for Yu-Gi-Oh! Because of the way the decks are set up. You would have to make something more generic in a middle ground. I think it'd be cool though. I think they could do it if they wanted to. Yeah, I do a good amount of explaining. I just worry that if you explain too much, people will sport. But perhaps that's unfounded. Now the question here is, can I splash? I think I can. I cut the forecaster in these two Boulderborns. And I put in Lion Weight and Caustic. I have 3 Boulderborns. Maybe. You create other channels, focus on your content. Zach built cards before I started playing the card game. I wonder what happened to them. Huh. Interesting. I do have ideas for other channels making, because I like making different, like whatever I feel like making all the time for content. So if I'm gonna like have another channel to put some of the more like video gamey stuff or like the more variety style things, something I could do. I think about Raffle, who had a full Hearthstone career, and then when he moves to Raffle Light, everyone moves with him to watch Bellatrix content or whatever. Could do something along those lines. It could be interesting. Let's see this deck here. How is it looking? One of each basic, at least. Sultai Monument. This deck is fine. I don't think it's quite as juicy as the last one, but it's like okay. Yeah, it's like fine. I don't know. We'll see how it runs. Yeah, I could do secondary channels for other stuff. I worry about making content for all of it because it does take time to make the videos. So if I'm making videos for a secondary channel, they would probably be very sporadic, like maybe like once a month or less. Could be something I do for sure. Amazing art on a useless card. Well, that's just more incentive for you to use the useless card and find a way to make it less bad. So you can use your sweet artwork. But yeah, I know what you mean. Playing Druid and got like 10,000 armor. That is a sweet rock video. That massive armor count. aggressive. Interesting. Who likes China has some sort of renewed draft? It works sort of. You pick a character with a starting pick. Oh, I see. So you have some already set up things. That makes sense. Still seems tough to pull off, but it was years ago. I can't remember exactly when Blizzard changed it. Oh, the armor gain deck. I think they changed, they nerfed the, what's it called? Whatever the plated card was. Earthen Scales, I think it was called. The one that gives you extra armor for how big your guy is, so you can't get like a huge amount of armor or something. I think that's how he did it. I don't quite remember. Even though it was wild, yeah. They always end up breaking wild. That's how it is. Combo. Let's see if I can beat him down with my dragons. Really firing off so much, you know? Have you ever played any auto battlers? Silver Ball, One Galaxy. I have played a few auto battlers. I mean, I played the Hearthstone auto battler. I remember that. I looked at TFT as well. Auto battlers are kind of tough, though. I found that if you don't get in early, they oftentimes run away pretty quickly with how the game's going. You know what I mean? Like, I still remember my first time trying to get into TFT, and I'm like, what the heck is going on at every point during the game? So it's hard to follow a lot of the stuff from those things, but I could give it more try. It would definitely be a different type of video to the ones I usually release, but I haven't stopped moving before. If I found one I really like, I'll probably make a video about it. Have you played the Bazaar? It's kind of like a TCG. I have an entire video idea about the Bazaar that I wanted to make, but I was kind of waiting for it to release, and now it's released, and it's kind of got the monetization thing going on, and there's less stuff about it. I do want to talk about it and make a video about it, but It's weird because Reynad set out to make a card game and then he accidentally made Super Auto Pets. Which is fine. Like, it's all a good game. I'm sure I've seen it. It looks like a fun time with synergies and all the stuff that you would normally expect from a card game, but it's not like really a card game because you don't collect any cards or do any of that kind of stuff. All the cards are already laid out there for you. Starter Ball is dead, but it was so fun. Yeah, I feel for the people who have their games, like, fall out from underneath them. Do you play any video games? Oh, a ton. I play so many video games. You have no idea. I would love to make videos about video games too, but I have a card game channel, so that's not exactly the easiest thing to accomplish. Besides online TCG clients. Yeah, of course. Play tons of or video games. Most of them you probably know, but I play some indie stuff too. Lots of things. It was owned by FTX scammers. Oh. I wasn't aware of that. Well, that's definitely not good. But alas, you know, FTX scammed a lot of people, so it's not a huge shock. This is I'll make this guy. Nice. I have a lot of mixed feelings about the Bazaar. It's fundamentally a fun game. I've only since been in public, and it's been very interesting during the game, to say the least. Well, yes, definitely. I wanted to wait for it to come out to make a whole like kind of history timeline sort of looking thing for the game. I still could make that kind of video, but I feel like now there's been so much. The video is a lot longer than I was thinking it was going to be. I wonder how many people actually know of the history of the Bazaar and stuff too. I should check that on YouTube if anyone's made that video yet. Ever since I tried engineering, it's mostly been what I've been playing instead of Hearthstone. Yeah, that's fair. I definitely jumped ship a bit from Hearthstone to Arena as well. I wasn't a big fan of Arena when it first came out, especially. I was kind of like, look, this is better than MTG Online, but like, why is it only a little better and like worse than Hearthstone still? Like, you've had Hearthstone around for like 4 years or whatever at that point. Why did you make it so much worse? Like, surely you could have been better than this, but after what happened to Hearthstone and all that stuff, it's like kind of, you know, what are you gonna do? I have 2 Sarkhan's Resolves in my deck. Not normally how I want things to pan out, but here we are. I suppose. An island. Yeah. Would you guys be interested in a Bazaar style video? It is something I want to make, but it feels like it's not a card game. And it's not talking about like a mechanic or something, so it would be kind of out of the blue. At least the other videos I make are generally about mechanics or something along those lines, so they're not completely out of the blue. Isn't PvP supported anymore? I tried Legends of Runeterra. I made a video about how I tried Legends of Runeterra, like when it first came out. It was alright, but it felt like strange to me, especially as a new player. I can't exactly explain why, but it felt like difficult for no reason. Like, they had made a lot of things that were good reasons to like be competitive, like the way that attacking works and blocking works and priority stuff. But in terms of like what I need to know as a casual player, I felt like it didn't give me the tools. Which, I don't know, maybe that was just me. It was definitely a fun game. I could see people enjoying it. I saw lots of people enjoying it, but it's just a surprise to me that it is so poorly. It had League of Legends behind it. It seemed like such like a obvious slam dunk, and then a lot of people said it like gave out too much stuff for free as to why it failed, which is understandable. Like, you have to find some way to make money, but giving out stuff for free is sort of the reason a lot of people play the game, I'm sure, right? So it can't be the only reason why it failed. Like, they could have made it profitable in some other way other than, like, cards, right? They had to figure that out. How is this game going right now? I feel pretty alright with it. I plummeted both the Hawks. I countered the seize the opportunity, sort of. The battle started to feel like a slog after some time for me. It wasn't paired with excellent live service events to spice things up. That's another thing. You need to have, like, especially in League of Legends case, like, having live service and, like, stuff added to the game a lot is important. I feel like they tried to do that, but it wasn't quite as successful as they would have liked. These cards are so good. Good to do. I can't even cast it. Never mind. Okay. Not running into the problem with... I definitely felt like that game could be kind of grindy too because of the way it was like weird with attacking and blocking and whose turn it was and all that stuff. Like, it could end up with games that even if you felt like you were about to win, you still couldn't. It's a better, cheaper alternative than paying IRL. Last year, the least... TCGs, yeah. Artifact. Artifact's really funny to think about to me when they released the crowd booing because it's a card game from Valve. It's like, oh, Valve was working on a brand new thing. I wonder what it is. I'm so excited, blah, blah, blah. And then it's a card game and everyone goes, boo! This isn't what we want. Valve, you've forsaken us. Yeah. Artifact ran into a similar problem to me. Like, Artifact looked like it wasn't too complicated, but they have 3 lanes, and then the attacks are kind of random, and you get random dudes coming in, and all this blah, 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 blah. Like, all this stuff. Like, if you can't explain your card game to, like, a 5-year-old, you probably need to dumb it down a little bit for the average player. Like, you should be able to understand what's going on from just, like, a glance. It shouldn't have to be, like, 3 pages worth of things going on. Well, this is less than ideal. I feel like I'm losing. Now I draw swamp. Okay. I'm just dead. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'm just dead. That was a pretty good draw. I drew a lot of nothing. Yeah, 3 game boards. I mean, I can imagine if you played in paper, that would actually work better because then you can just see all the 3 sides. But especially on a digital client where you have to like pan between them and then remember what's going on, and you have to build the deck. Like, card games already have such a high barrier of entry. Like, you have to understand the mechanics, understand the way the combat works, understand the way the mana system works, understand how to do things, what your goal is, what you're like. You don't have 1,000 years to explain to the player how to do everything, so you have to make your game pretty concise. Like in Magic, I can explain it pretty easily what you're supposed to do. Step 1, play land. Step 2, play creatures. Step 3, beat your opponent to death. That's like that. That's it. Every single deck is trying to do the exact same thing. You're trying to kill your opponent with your cards. Some decks are slow, some decks are fast, and you kind of explain that. But like for the most part, you just play things and attack your opponent so life will hit 0. Pretty simple thing to understand. Really drawn out. I like anything with a deck building aspect and progression. Chess Evolved Online. Yeah, cost full price. Yeah, they have to pay a lot to get Artifact after all that. It definitely did not help its cause. Yeah, no. See, that progression stuff, like, for people who are already in the sauce, like, it's great to have that kind of depth built in, like, stuff to do. But if you're, like, not a card gamer, and obviously when you make a new card game, you're going to have to turn non-card gaming people into a card game, especially if you're doing something like Artifact that's based off Valve IP, or, like, you know, based off League or whatever. Like, you want, ideally, if you're making your game, you want to bring the people from the other game into your game. And if you can't do that, then, like, you should probably just do what Magic does and just piggyback off of an already existing audience by giving them the rights to your IP or whatever. But it can be done. You just need to make your game simple, but also deep, which is the hard part. But it can be done. All right, I need mountain. Come on, mountain. Oh, is that good enough? That's good enough. They go like this. He has something for this. I think I'm just boned. Someone's getting anyway. Still taking a crap ton of damage here, though. I still need to draw a mountain. I hope Hearthstone implements a mode where you can build decks with the cards from different classes, just like MTG does with the colors. That's been an idea that's been on their mind probably for a while. Yeah, I'm just there. But that would break a lot of balance. It would be fun though. Fun for a tavern brawl kind of thing. Cards, TCGs, big in China. Very similar to Hearthstone, but slightly more complex. Similar to Hearthstone, but more complex. It does sound good. I'm always very interested in that balancing act between so complicated that, like, it is great for only veteran style players, but it can't hold the player base because only people who are really deep in will play it. And then simple, like, I don't know, Marvel Snap versus my, what's it called? I did the Marvel Snap and the Legendary Terror video, and they kind of represent both halves to me in my mind. A lot of people were mad at that video because they feel like I lambasted them both, but they were both good games. I didn't dislike either of them. It's just kind of shows, like, you need to play both halves in order to be successful. The most satisfying gameplay is very simple interactions with some other emergent gameplay, which allows for decision making. Yes, definitely. That's the keyword right there. You want that emergent gameplay. You want something to come out of the game that is, like, not obvious at first glance, but then causes you to think a little bit more. That little bit of extra thinking goes a long, long, long way. Thanks for this. Strategic Betrayal, actually, you put it in work. It's a new one. Oh, and he's there. Yeah, that's strategic decision making is, like, you want people to make decisions, but you also want people to be able to not make decisions. That's the balancing act. You need to have people feel like the decision they're making doesn't really matter, and that it's, like, simple to do what's right. And then you also want, you know, that depth for players. I feel like Magic has kind of struck the balance, but it's leaning more towards like just do the thing that's right every time for new players than the, you know, actually have a plan. Kind of old player style thing. Maybe that just comes from me because I'm more, you know, I've been playing it for a decade, but it feels more like because every card does everything, you can kind of do whatever you want, and then it'll usually work out. You still have to make the right decisions during the game, which I guess where the other half comes, but in terms of deck building, it's much easier nowadays. How am I down so many cards against this guy? I guess he drew like 2 cards all this kind of. Traveling Botanist is so good, I guess. The Old Horizon sets for some good draft formats. Old Horizon sets are definitely good draft formats. I remember having a good time with those. Both feels more powerful because you get to play with stronger cards, but also like you have more options kind of to play. There's many diverse types of decks. You can put 5-color, 4-color stuff. It's just nice having a diverse draft format, but I feel like they can do that nowadays however they want because they just have many an option for that kind of thing. Is he gonna exile my graveyard again? Oh my god. Standard right now is just super pushed, man. It feels like Sheltered by Ghosts can just exist and be fine. It's mind-boggling to me. Yeah, Standard is not in the best spot right now. I know I have a friend who's playing in tournaments, and he has to play Standard, and he's not having a great time. The classic Standard disaster. You have to make choices based on what your opponent could have and draft the Learn Your Knowledge format. Yeah. It's one of my other favorite parts of draft is learning what they could have, what you have, like what options there are during the draft. Like there's so much depth. But if you also are just like playing casually, it works. You just see shiny rare and go, ooh, I want to play with that, and then you build your whole deck around that. Like there's so many people who I play draft with who just like, nah, I just wanted to play with the fun card, so I play with the fun card, you know? It's like not so complex. Most of the hereafter. Okay, just take this. Here. What's your favorite deck archetype in TCGs and CCGs? I really like Sabotage my opponent's hand. Good question. I'm trying to think. I think my favorite thing... Okay, so I'm more of a competitive player, so favorite thing isn't like really a thing I do. Like I just do whatever's good. At the time, usually, I'll try to do what's best. But if I were to pick the thing I like doing the most, I love mid-rangey style decks. Where you have like... a deck where you have many options for what to do at any point. So you have early game stuff, you have late game stuff, and you have like a variety of options to make throughout the game. I just like feeling like no matter what I'm playing against, I have a chance to win. Whether I'm against a deck where it's really late game focused and I have to squeeze all the value out of every single one of my cards, or if I'm against an aggressive deck that is super focused on like beating you down and I'm just trying my hardest to survive the whole game. I feel like playing mid-range decks really give you that both halves, where it's like I get to feel like no matter what I'm doing, I'm like in the game. Now that is an interesting one. I think I discarded it. Oh. Have you ever played any Cryptozoic deck builder like DC deck builder? Oh, I love the DC deck builder. I played so much DC deck builder back in the day with my friend. I'm a huge fan of that. I love deck builder games. I played Smash Up. I played DC deck builder. I played Dominion. Tons of games like that. Big fan. Big fan. I could make a video about those, but they feel more contained. I don't really talk about board games that much. I do like a lot of board games, but board games always felt like a more contained entity to me. Like, you just release whatever board game you think is fun, you'll play it for a bit, and then if it's like one of the greatest of all time, it'll latch onto you and you play it forever, and if not, then it's just, you know, fun for a bit. That's also weird when I talk about card games. Like, that's why it's easy to talk about Magic and Hearthstone and Yu-Gi-Oh! And stuff, because it's very clear where the game is going. Like, they want you to play this game for as long as they can possibly have. They're hooked into you. There's no, like, exit where they're like, okay, and the Hearthstone's done now. But for other card games, it might not be quite the same. I'm sure that other designers have different ideas in mind about, like, what they want the card game to be. Whether or not they want, you know, they need to be really successful right away, if they just want to have it around for a few years, if it's just like a one-time thing. Like, depending on who you ask, like, a successful card game can only have one set, and then that's it, right? So it really depends. Obviously, everyone wants their game to last forever and be the best of all time, but realistically, you know, different people have their goals. Really wish I was on the play. Okay, this is awkward. Can you just do this? Am I discarding Sargon's Resolve? Yeah. Now all I gotta do is get to the next turn and full punch. Just leave my guy alone now! Wait, no, that's fine, actually. He can take both punches. I always drop both of these guys. So awkward. I only really need one. Yeah, well, that was a fast one. Never seen a deck like that before, but I'll be good. I think I would have easily won if I just drew a 2-drop. Oh, you should check out Clank. I've seen a lot of Clank before. Clank looks like a really fun game. I would love to play some Clank. It's 4 players though, right? Board game expansions are interesting. Yeah, board game expansions are like, you can add on to a board game if it's already successful, so you can kind of like test the water to see if your board game is going to stick or not, and then if you get something really good like Clank, then you can start like expanding it and stuff, and it goes really big. I think of Carcassonne. Carcassonne has so many expansions. They're a blast. Or like, I mean, Dominion is one I mentioned earlier. Dominion has so many different expansions that are awesome. All right, well, this has been a pleasure. Thanks for everyone joining into the stream and having a chat. It's been a great time. I got some plans later, and I got to make dinner and stuff, so I'll be hitting the road. What other game genre do you enjoy playing? Yeah, I'll chat here for a bit until I got to go. What other game genre do you enjoy playing? I love roguelikes for games. I love board games. Here's the thing. I'm the kind of guy who is going to play 4 different card games at like similar times. Like I pivot around to a lot of stuff. So I enjoy so much stuff. I love rhythm games. I love roguelikes. I love card games. I love shooters. I love strategy games. I love puzzle. Like there's no genre that is beyond my grasp. I'll try anything. If I can find it fun, it's a blast for me. So thanks for everyone for tuning into the stream. It's been fun. I hope I can get around to doing this more often. I always have really interesting talks with everyone in the chat. You guys showing up and giving me ideas for videos or filling me in on stuff, and everyone's always so nice and complimenting. It's always a pleasure. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next stream, or you guys can comment on the next video, and I'll see you there. I always read all the comments, so it's been a pleasure. Thanks for watching.